Hi, I'm Bob Garrett. At Hackensack Meridian Health, we believe that all residents need to be informed about the important healthcare issues that affect their lives. That's why we're very proud to support the important programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Hackensack Meridian Health, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, the law firm of Gibbons, P.C., New Jersey Sharing Network, dedicated to saving lives through organ and tissue donation, Fedway Associates, Suez, water solutions to meet tomorrow's environmental challenges, and by Kessler Foundation, changing the lives of people with disabilities. Promotional support provided by Meadowlands Chamber, building connections, driving business growth. And by New Jersey Monthly, the magazine of the Garden State, available at newsstands.
This is One-on-One.
I'm an equal American just like you are.
The jobs of tomorrow are not the jobs of yesterday.
Look at this. You got this?
Here it is, man. Look at that. Life without dance is boring.
I don't care how good you are or how good you think you are, there is always something to learn.
Do you enjoy talking politics?
No.
People call me because they feel nobody's paying attention.
Our culture, I don't think, has ever been tested the way it's being tested right now.
Such a good question. High five.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. We're coming to you from the NJTV Agnes Vera Studios. It is our honor to introduce, this isn't one-on-one, this is one-on-two, two very special guests. Matt Zoller Seitz is, and also Alan Sepinwall. They are the TV critics and co-authors connected to the 20th anniversary of The Sopranos. This book is called The Sopranos Sessions. These guys have been writing about The Sopranos from day one, 1999, when the series broke on HBO. They've been with us many times in the past. They're the best at what they do, and you honor us. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure, Steve.
Matt, Sopranos happens in 1999.
Yeah.
Who, other than David Chase, thought it was going to be something really special?
Not even David Chase thought it was going to be something
Not
really special.
even David Chase.
Well, he originally wanted to do it as a movie, and he did it somewhat reluctantly as a TV series, and he never thought it would last beyond season one. And in fact, it was going to end with Tony actually strangling his mother. And it was only when Nancy Marchand asked, "Can you please keep me around on the show? I need the money," that Livia lived.
And Nancy was sick.
She had cancer, and he knew that she had cancer when he cast her.
So another ending. Geez, I don't remember the ending. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Your healthy obsession with The Sopranos started when?
Basically when the show started, and when Matt was covering it for the Star-Ledger for the first couple of years, that was the most envious time, the most fraught time in our partnership together, because he had staked a claim, and he realized immediately, like, this was the show that was going to change television.
And you said, hey, let me in on this.
And after season 3, he did, and I got to cover it all the way through the end, through that finale that people are still arguing about.
By the way, I want to make it clear that not a lot of people in our business are that generous and open to. And we're not turf-focused.
Yeah, you would have pried that show from my cold, dead hands, Steve.
It was lucky that it was you and not him. Here's what I want to do. But by the way, the 20th anniversary is significant. Why?
Well, for one thing, the show is a period piece now. And it plays very differently when you go back and watch it again. And it was a great pleasure watching.
Excuse me for interrupting. Both of you went back to watch every episode again,
We
right?
did, yeah, more than one. In most episodes, more than once, yeah.
Yeah, because the book has essays on every episode in addition to the new interview we did with David Chase. So we had to revisit all of it.
How open was David Chase? By the way, originally from New Jersey. David Chase, how open?
More open than at times than we expected, less open at other times. Chase is always a challenging interview subject. He doesn't like talking about the show. He doesn't like explaining things. But there were times when he would just get on a roll, and we talked about the last scene in the ice cream parlor for like almost an hour.
Yeah, as I was reading about that part, did David Chase make a mistake? Did he say something unintentional when he called it the quote-unquote death scene?
No, because he was referring to what happened was after the 5th season, the executives at HBO started asking him, how do you want to end this? And he came up with this idea of Tony is going to a meeting with Johnny Sack, the New York mob boss. And
By the way, check out our website, the interview with Johnny Sack, whose name is Vincent Curatola with a C. Check that out, one of our favorite interviews. He talks about Gandolfini as well. We're about to show you Michael Imperioli, who played Christopher Moltisanti, in just a moment. But set that up again.
Okay, so...
Sorry for...
That's okay. That's all right. So, where were we? I'm sorry.
Tony's driving through
the yeah. So
How are you going to end this thing?
The HBO executive asked David Chase, how are you going to end this thing? And one idea, this is an early idea that he had, was Tony was going to drive to a meeting with Johnny Sack, the New York mob boss played by Vincent Curatola, and we would see him driving and we would see him going through the Lincoln Tunnel, and then it would fade to white. And you could draw the conclusion that perhaps he didn't come back from that meeting. Well, that's eventually not what he did. And part of the reason why he didn't do it was he thought it was, even though it was subtle, he didn't want to give people the impression that, oh, he died and that's the end of it. He wanted something that was a little more infuriating. As we know now, he did come up with something more infuriating.
Yeah, and by the way, for those of us who live in northern New Jersey, if you've ever been to Holston's, an iconic ice cream joint in Bloomfield, New Jersey, that booth,
yes,
the booth where Tony Soprano and his family were sitting, I mean, that is a very special, there it is.
Yep.
Wait, hold on. That's you guys.
Yes, they
you
filmed,
got the onion rings.
They filmed a documentary where we talked about the show and ate onion rings while doing it.
Yes. Yeah, it's an hour of us talking about The Sopranos at Holston's. It's called My Dinner with Alan.
Oh, I love it.
That's the title
By the
of
way,
it, yeah.
no, not a commercial for Holston's, but they do have the best onion rings around. Can we show some pictures of some people? No, why don't we do this? Let's do the Gandolfini thing. By the way, I can tell already, we're going to go along with the guys, all right? So can we make an adjustment on the fly here? James Gandolfini. So many of the people we've had on from the cast have talked about the kind of human being, not just a great actor, talk about being generous when you're talking about your colleague. He's a great person, great human being.
Yeah, and he was a very reluctant star. He didn't like talking about himself. The first time Matt was trying to do an interview with him in the first season, Jim called Matt's house and got on the phone with his wife, trying to ask her to get him out of having to do it, not because he was aloof, but literally he just didn't like the attention, which is an odd way to feel if you're going to be the star of a television show that changes television, but that's how it worked out for him.
When the first season was going to premiere, he tried to attend in a yellow cab. He didn't want to take a limo because he was afraid that his friends would see him and think he'd gone Hollywood.
And by the way, I was talking about a Jersey guy. He's a Jersey guy, Rutgers guy. I remember he'd always root for Rutgers. He was a big Rutgers fan.
Yeah, one of our editors went to college with him, and he, you know the dent in his forehead? He gave him that.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Slammed the door in his face and had to take him to the emergency room for stitches.
Mark Diano, Pulitzer finalist for the Star-Ledger, grievously injured James Gandolfini.
By the way, we're going to have Mark back on because he has a new book coming, a new book out. But the guys from the Ledger all did really well.
Yeah, we did.
Some of them are continuing to do well. Can we do this? I'm going to show you. Can we show the clip from Michael Imperioli? I keep talking about it. This is a clip from the Tisch WNET studio. It was a one-on-one interview with Michael Imperioli, who played the nephew of Tony Soprano, Christopher. I believe he's talking about James Gandolfini and his experience with this incredibly iconic series of Sopranos 20th anniversary. Let's go to the clip.
I did not know Jim, and a lot of us didn't. But he was the central character. He worked more than any of the other actors, pretty much. And he was also like the captain of the team, you know. He was like the Lou Gehrig or the Derek Jeter, and he looked out for everybody, both behind the camera.
And financially, I heard. Did he fight?
And financially, well, he was an extremely generous guy. You know, he would find out about, like, some woman who's getting evicted or couldn't pay her mortgage, and he'd send someone over a check completely anonymously. And he saved a lot of people and helped a lot of people who probably to this day never know he did that.
I mean, you can talk about Gandolfini forever. Talk about Michael Imperioli. Talented, right?
Well, he's a sharp guy. I mean, he's a really, really well-read, like genuinely intellectual person, and very down to earth too. And I used to love talking to him when I would visit the set because he always, you know, he was always reading some new book that he wanted to recommend. He'd just been to a play and he wanted to talk about it.
Pretty deep guy.
Yeah, he's very lively, like, you know, with his mind, like always looking for the next thing.
Let me ask you this: can we put a picture up of Carmela Edie Falco? Talk about Edie.
Edie Falco is amazing because it was such a contrast between her and Jim. Jim sort of had a hard time shaking off that role. Edie Falco was like an acting machine. She would walk onto the set. It would be like flipping a light switch. Suddenly she was Carmela. She could be going through the most intense, dramatic scene you could possibly imagine, screaming her lungs out. And then the director yells, "Cut!" And she's back to being Edie Falco, and she's talking about what she's going to do that weekend.
Can we talk about Dr. Malfi, Lorraine Bracco, who we all remember from, my wife sometimes jokes, and she says, "Do you have any money on you?" You know what she does?
Yeah.
I say, well, how much money are we talking about? She goes, you know, and she does a thing, Karen.
Yeah.
From the Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, right? You guys can't see my Karen, doesn't matter. That's such an inside. This is inside, but you appreciate what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She goes from that scene
Yeah.
to playing a Jewish woman who lived across the street, right? And she comes into this crazy world in Goodfellas. And she's Dr. Jennifer Melfi, and she's Tony Soprano's psychologist or psychiatrist, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever expect that it would be that powerful, that part of the whole Sopranos thing?
No, and I certainly didn't expect to see her playing a part like that. And that was part of the genius of the show is that they often cast people against type. I mean, not always. There are times where, like, Frank Vincent showed up playing exactly the kind of role you would expect Frank Vincent to play. But in a lot of cases, they were casting people in ways that showed new sides of them. And I think Edie Falco is an example of that. I mean, she had been a really successful indie film actress, but she'd never played a part that was had that many layers and was that sort of constricted and kind of constrained in certain ways.
By the way, check out also our website at steveadubato.org. Put it up because our interview with Frank Vincent from back in, I think, 2010. My God. He wrote a book called The Wise Guy's Guide to Being a Wise Guy. Something like that. Talk about just, it's so inside, but I enjoyed it.
He read for Uncle Junior and basically didn't get the part because Chase worried he was hiring too many people from Goodfellas. And Frank said to David, look, I understand I'm not getting it this time, but you're going to have to hire me sooner or later because there's only so many guys like me for a show like this.
Okay, since you mentioned Dominic Chini's.
Yes.
Okay? Uncle Junior. How many people know, you guys know this?
Yes.
He not only was in Goodfellas, but look at Dominic Chini's with Jamie Lee Sicker. How about this? In Godfather, go ahead.
Godfather Part 2, Johnny Ola.
Johnny Ola.
Yes.
Johnny Ola was, oh, never, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go there. Did you realize right away that Uncle Junior was Johnny Ola from The Godfather back in early 1970s? Did you realize it right away?
Oh, yeah, because I was a Godfather nerd. You know, I had the VHS cassettes where they packaged them as 2 cassettes because the films were so long.
And then Fredo said, yeah, Johnny Ola told me about this place.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
The great thing is, when we talked to Chase for the book, we asked him, like, wouldn't Tony have taken out his uncle after what happens in season 1? He says, probably, but Uncle Junior was our favorite character to write for. We loved putting these lines in Dominic's mouth. There was no way we were ever going to kill him.
How much does Dominic Chini's love singing?
He loves to sing. He sings even if nobody asks him to sing, he'll sing. He loves to sing. He's great.
Stuff.
He's great. And, you know, he started out, he became fascinated by show business because he went to see Sinatra play at the Paramount Theater right after World War II, and he was a teenager.
Right about early, mid-40s, I imagine.
Yeah.
Wow. By the way, the name of the book is The Sopranos Sessions. Matt and Alan have put together a powerful book. In a conversation with David Chase is in here. So the whole idea is after these episodes, you provide your analysis of it?
Yeah, so you can, if you're watching the show for the first time or you're rewatching it, you can watch an episode, turn to that chapter in the book, read what we had to say about it, and keep on going, or just bounce around. If you want to read about Pine Barrens, go for it.
Jeez, I asked Christopher, I asked Michael Imperioli about that. Remember the shoe came off?
I lost my shoe. That was great.
When they're eating in the... Never mind, I'm sorry.
That also has one of my favorite Uncle Junior lines, which is when Gloria throws the London broil at the back of Tony's neck when he's leaving.
Yes.
And then a couple of scenes later, he goes to see Uncle Junior, and he's talking to him, and he pauses. He goes, "You been eating steak?"
And by the way, I'm not going to talk about the scene where they're out there golfing. I'll leave it. Can we leave it alone?
Yeah, sure.
We'll leave it alone. By the way, the movie, 15 seconds on the movie. Really? We're doing a movie here?
Yeah, Many Saints of Newark, it was called.
He's been talking about this since the show ended.
Called Newark.
Now it's just called Newark.
Now it's called Newark. It's a prequel set in the 60s, dealing with Uncle Junior and Johnny, and especially Dickie Moltisanti, Christopher's father.
And hold on. Gandolfini's son is in this?
Yeah, he's playing Tony. He's playing young Tony.
Yeah. Probably sometime in the 70s or early 80s.
What can you tell us about it before we see it?
Well, we don't know anything about it. Like, he had finished a script a long time ago, and he knew full well what it was, and he probably knew when we interviewed him that it was going to go into production, and he didn't say anything.
Yeah, I asked one thing, and he said, and he answered for about 2 seconds, and then said, "I've said too much. I need to stop talking."
He did not, really?
Yes.
Yeah. I could ask you one more character. Do you remember we had Furio on?
Yeah.
We had Furio because we showed his artwork.
Federico Castelluccio.
Federico Castelluccio.
Yes.
That's a talented artist.
Yeah. There's a lot of people on that show who were not really actors. He was one, Steve Van Sant. Even Vince Curatola was a masonry contractor before he wound up on the show.
Guys, I cannot thank you enough. Not just for this book, not just for those of us who live in New Jersey and followed your work in the Ledger for all those years. you made this experience of watching this more insightful, more powerful, more interesting. And by the way, let folks know where you are today so they can check you out.
I'm at Rolling Stone, and you can find me on Twitter at Sepinwall.
I'm writing about TV for New York Magazine, and I review movies for RogerEbert.com, Roger's old website.
Wow. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
The book again is?
Always a pleasure.
The name of the book is The Sopranos Sessions.
Indeed.
Matt and Alan have put this together in conversation with David Chase, forward by Laura Lippman. Thank you, guys. This is 1 on 2, and The Sopranos 20th anniversary. Never be another one.
To see more one-on-one with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
We are pleased to welcome Joe Gorga, who's an entrepreneur, real estate developer, author, a very interesting book, The Gorga Guide to Success. Good to see you, Joe.
Nice to see you.
Thank you, see my friend.
Pleasure.
Now, you're from Paterson, New Jersey.
Paterson, New Jersey.
Now, I'm from Newark, New Jersey. What's the biggest difference? Don't say you guys are tougher.
We're classier and we're tougher. No.
Oh, yeah. You're going to go there right away?
I have to.
You have?
No.
Why do we have to do it?
We just have to do it. You know, that's what, listen, we're guys from the inner city hood and we made it, right? We made it.
At least from the neighborhood.
And I respect you no matter what, even though you're from Newark.
You know, it's always like a Jersey City thing, a Newark thing. By the way, I said North Jersey, Camden, that's another story. But let me ask you this. By the way, the whole idea of the book, explain this, and I know we showed a full screen graphic. You got a lot of different ideas, a lot of different practical keys to your success. But other than the Housewives initiative with you and your lovely wife, Melissa, and your sister Teresa on the show, your success in real estate as a developer comes from what?
Hard work. Everybody says to me, how did you do it? Oh, he made money on the show. He made money through TV. No. I wanted to prove to people that I made it through hard work, and that's all it takes. Just get up and go to work and give it 100%. And there's going to be obstacles in life, ups, downs, but just don't give up. And I talk about always like it's football. Put your head down, and the goal line is right there, and you're going to get hit from every angle. Just keep on pushing, and you're going to score that touchdown. And that's what that book's about.
So let me ask you this, because you have young children.
Yes.
You know, who've been born into a pretty comfortable situation. I can say that because our kids have as well.
Right.
We didn't come from that, but that was the aspiration.
Right.
Here's the question. Do you think it's harder to get many kids today to work as hard as they need to work, to overcome the obstacles they're going to face, to be successful, because we have given them so much? Loaded question, I know.
Yes. The question is yes. See, when I grew up, and it states in the book, I had to ride my bike. I was 9 years old, and I was delivering newspapers at 9 years old. I could imagine telling my 9-year-old today, go out and deliver newspapers. And I was just, don't cry, Daddy, what are you doing to me? You know, he's afraid. They're afraid to even walk down the street. I live in a very exclusive neighborhood. They get dropped off from the bus right at the corner. And mind you, the school is only a block away. 1 block away. So I take a bus, they get dropped off. They won't even walk down the street.
We shelter them too much?
We do.
You know, and by the way, to our boys, you know yours, Nick and Chris, 16 and 14. When I ask you to take the recycling out, you give me the face like, wow, that's a lot to ask of me, Dad.
Right.
We did that.
We did it.
I don't mean to be so old school. I'm a lot older than you, but I know your background, and I appreciate that. But I often feel like kids who grow up in I'm going to call working class. I'm not going to say poor. Some people were poor. We were working class. If I was a school teacher, it was paycheck to paycheck. But I will say this, there was a hunger that I read in this book to be successful. I mean, your family came directly. I'm 1 generation removed from you. Our family's from Avellino in Naples. Your family's from?
Sala Gonzalina, which is part of Naples.
Vicino.
Yeah,
right,
Vicino,
right?
yeah.
So my point is this. I feel like in some ways the advantages we give our kids, it's hard for them to read this and go, yeah, that's what I'm going to do, because we have done what we've done. Question is this, can we undo some of that stuff to get them to be the hard workers they need to be?
You know the way I do it? I do it through sports. Because we're not going to send them out and go to work today. We're really not. We're sending them sports. I say, that's your job. School is your job. When they say, oh, Daddy, I don't want to go to wrestling today. No, you have to go. Because You have to make it. That's your job. If you don't go, we can't eat tonight. So that's the way I kind of do it. But as they get older, I'm going to be honest with you, they're going to get a job when they're 15, 16.
You're going to make that. And Melissa's on board on that?
Definitely.
Because you and Melissa, just like my wife Jennifer and I, we don't always agree on parenting. You do, except the difference is you do it on the show. Well, but what do you agree on? What don't you agree on when it comes to that?
Well, Melissa agrees with almost everything that I say, and that's why we click. And you know, we live crazy lives, and we don't have nannies, we don't have live-ins, we don't do that. We do it all ourselves. Melissa does ask once, can I get a nanny? I said, no, we do it. I don't want that around my children. Let's do it together, and we work hard together. And I'm going to do that with my children. I'm just giving them a little time right now because it's really not the way, the old school ways when we were younger, we could work at 12 and 13. You can't do that now. But once they hit 15, they're all getting jobs.
So let me try this. Real estate success. I'm going to try this. The whole idea of flipping a house. I hear a lot of people, yeah, I'm going to get into it. I'm going to put a few bucks in it. I'll flip it. I'll make a couple $100,000. How many people around you think it's a lot easier? They think it's a heck of a lot easier than it really is because you're dealing with it day to day.
It's not easy. And you know, and you got all these real estate guys that have these seminars and tell you it's so easy, you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not easy, it's hard. First of all, you got to find the right deal. Without finding the right deal, you don't have the right agent or you don't know what you're looking for, you're going to lose money.
You see people overpay all the time?
All the time. And they're overpaying now. The market is insane right now.
Why?
People just think that it's hot and they're just buying and overbuilding the real estate market. Insane right now.
Is it flooded?
It's flooded. Yes, it's flooded.
Do you see the cycles happening? And by the way, I don't want to complicate things. It's not a show on economics. But interest rates matter?
Definitely.
I'm not going to get political on you, but the inability to write off, deduct, if you will, property taxes, as well as the mortgage interest, right? $10,000, that's it. That hurts?
It hurt the market from 700,000 and up. Any houses from 700,000 and up are suffering. So the $1 million homes are suffering. Anything below 700,000 are selling like hotcakes.
But over that number?
Over that number they're hurting because
Jackie,
the taxes are higher.
I'm sorry. By the way, I want to make it clear in the book. Giant great, New York Giant great, Tiki Barber wrote the foreword to the book. Good stuff. Very personal because he has a connection with Joe. Try this one. Did you just have a real estate seminar?
I just had a real estate
seminar.
You
held it?
I held it. This Saturday. It was March 23rd.
We're taping at the end of March. Go ahead. Okay. Who came to this, Joe?
Oh, it was, let me tell you something. I put it together in about a month and a half, and it was tremendous. It was a success. We had over 800 people show up.
Well, I'm looking at pictures of it.
Yeah, it was amazing, man. It did really well. People loved it. They learned. We inspired them. We had emotional talks. It was amazing.
What made you decide to do that, to go out there, be a motivational speaker in the field of real estate and development?
You know, I don't know. Ask me that again. I don't know.
No, seriously. You got the platform from the show, but you're using it in a totally different way now.
Because everyone asked me, how'd you do it? You did it the easy way. And I'm like, no. I want to show, especially to young people, this is how you do it. Or a couple that's 50, in their 50s, and they work hard, and they were afraid to invest into real estate. No. This is the time you can invest in it. Don't be afraid. This is your retirement. Hold in real estate, buying apartments, a 2-family home, a 3-family, will change their life.
Can we switch gears? You told our producers you'd be open to talking about some things about the show.
Yeah.
We're taping again at the sort of the beginning of April. Be here. The show will be seen after that.
Okay.
Your sister, you're very close.
Yes.
But relationships are complicated.
Yes.
You've had to be there for her and her kids.
Yes.
What do you think the future holds for her?
I don't know. That's a big question.
You think about it a lot?
We do. I do, and I talk to her a lot about it. And every other day I get on the phone with her. What's going on? How do you feel?
And that's not on camera.
That's not on camera. That's personal. It's between me and her. You know, and because you can imagine, she doesn't know what she's what's going on in her life.
As we speak right now.
We don't. She doesn't know. She doesn't. Joe's in there now. They say 6 months. Where do you ever see the state or that work like that in 6 months? It's going to be another year, a year and a half. So she doesn't know what her life is bringing. I mean, you imagine that's 47 years old. She just doesn't know what's happening. So she's been in limbo for like 4 years right now. It's hard.
And her kids are very close to you.
Oh, yeah. We're all close. And
your kids are close to their
Yes, yes. We're a very close family. And they're all going through issues, all of them. You don't see much of it, but they are.
Before I let you out, Joe, if you could, 9 years, right?
9 years on the show, yes.
Yeah.
This is our 9th season.
Pros, cons, Ups, downs, I know. You know what you know now. You didn't know when you went in. You didn't know that you and your brother-in-law were going to get into a physical situation.
No.
Would you do it again?
Would I do it again? No. No. Because I'd rather stay humble and keep my family the way it is. It hasn't changed our family, but little things it has. And would I do it again? No. I'd rather stay who I am. And I don't want this in my life. So would I do it again? I'd just go be my merry way and go to work and keep my wife at home with me.
Well, your wife has her own ideas for success.
Yeah.
So we'll have her another time. Listen, Joe, I want to thank you.
You got it.
And wish you
It
all
was
the
a
best.
pleasure. You got
Okay?
it. Yes.
This is Joe Gorga. I'm Steve Adubato. This is One on One.
One on One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 30 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One on One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Hackensack Meridian Health, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, the law firm of Gibbons PC, New Jersey Sharing Network, Fedway Associates, Suez, and by Kessler Foundation. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
Perfectly orchestrated. In sync with your life. Hackensack Meridian Health is redefining how health and care come together. Because when everything works together, your world gets better. Hackensack Meridian Health. Life years ahead.